The blind date was empty, until the restaurant door burst open, cold wind rushing in, and two little twin girls hurried inside clutching matching backpacks, scanning the room with wide, anxious eyes as if searching for someone who had already disappointed them. The moment they spotted me sitting alone at a table set for two, with a candle still flickering stubbornly in the center, their faces lit with hope and relief I didn't yet understand. And before I could even process the strange twist unfolding in this quiet corner of the city, one of them stepped forward, tugged at the hem of her yellow sweater, and whispered the words that would change the direction of my night, and maybe my life. "My daddy's sorry he's late." If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unexpected ways life brings people together, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Grandma Dearie. Your support helps these emotional stories keep reaching the people who need them most. From the moment those girls stood there, something inside me softened, something I hadn't felt in months. I had walked into the blind date already exhausted by life. Work had drained me, loneliness had become a quiet companion, and the last few years had convinced me that maybe I just wasn't meant for the sort of love stories other people stumbled into effortlessly. The date was supposed to be a simple experiment, a small attempt to pull myself out of the quiet numbness settling over my days. But the table stayed empty, the waiter kept glancing sympathetically my way, and I was already rehearsing the speech I'd give my well-meaning friend who had set this up. The sight of those little girls, hair in matching braids, cheeks red from the cold, was the last thing I expected in a fancy midtown restaurant glowing with golden lights and soft Christmas music drifting in the background. They stood there awkwardly but bravely, the bolder twin pushing the quieter one forward just a little. I noticed how neatly their scarves were tucked in, how carefully someone had tried to take care of them this evening even in a rush. And as they explained in tiny voices that their dad had told them to come inside while he parked the car, my mind spun with confusion. I wasn't a parent, and I certainly wasn't the person they were looking for, yet the universe had pushed them directly into my moment of quiet disappointment. The restaurant manager glanced over as if prepared to escort them outside, but something compelled me to lift a hand and tell him it was fine. Maybe it was the exhaustion in their eyes. Maybe the way they kept glancing at the door. Maybe because I remembered too many nights of waiting for people who didn't show up when it mattered. Minutes stretched, the twins shifting nervously, their backpacks tapping softly against their legs each time they swayed. I knew I should have gently told them I wasn't who they thought I was, but something stopped me. Instead, I asked the manager for 2 warm chocolates and invited them to sit for just a moment so they wouldn't be cold. As steam curled from their cups, a strange warmth bloomed in me, spreading through my chest like a forgotten melody. The restaurant's golden lights reflected off their big brown eyes, and I couldn't help imagining what kind of father would trust 2 small girls to walk into a place like this alone. Maybe someone struggling. Maybe someone trying. Just as the awkward sweetness of the moment settled in, the restaurant door swung open again, colder air rushing in like a dramatic entrance in an old movie. A man stepped inside, hair wind-tossed, shirt untucked, tie slightly crooked, breathing heavily from running. And the moment the twins lit up with recognition, I finally understood. He looked around frantically, spotted them, and then his eyes landed on me. Embarrassment washed over his face instantly, and he hurried to the table with the kind of apology already written in every step he took. He explained, in one breath and a shaky voice, that he was my blind date. His babysitter had cancelled last minute, leaving him scrambling between responsibility and hope. He didn't want to cancel on me, he said, because it had taken him so long to build up the courage to try dating again after losing his wife 3 years ago. The words drifted into the warm air like a confession, fragile and uneven. And suddenly, the whole picture came together, his lateness, the twins' trust, the careful braids, the frantic running, the choice he made to show up anyway, even if imperfectly. I had come expecting disappointment. Instead, I was staring at the most honest moment I had witnessed in years. He apologized over and over, trying to take the girls away so I wouldn't feel obligated to stay, but something in me sparked, something that felt like understanding. Maybe it was the exhaustion I recognized in him, the quiet hope he was trying to hold on to for the sake of his daughters and maybe for himself. Maybe it was because I had known what it felt like to carry responsibility alone, to feel like every step forward was a risk you hoped wouldn't end in more heartbreak. Maybe it was simply because the twins had already carved out a tiny space in my heart without even realizing it. So we stayed. All of us. At a table set for two that somehow became a table for four. We ordered dinner together. The girls told stories in shy voices about school, about how their dad tried to make pancakes on Sundays, about how he burned them almost every time but made them anyway because that's what their mom used to do. I watched him listening to them with a quiet tenderness, his eyes soft, his posture protective. The restaurant's glow made the moment feel almost unreal, like the kind of scene people talk about years later, wondering how life arranged such beautifully tangled threads. As the night deepened, I saw the way he glanced at me, careful, almost apologetic for taking up space in my evening, but there was gratitude too. Gratitude that I didn't walk out. Gratitude that I didn't make him feel unworthy for being late or for being overwhelmed or for being a man still trying to learn how to live with his grief. And something in me responded with a quiet warmth, recognizing the courage it took for him to show up in the first place. Life had bruised him, but he was still trying. That alone felt like a rare form of strength. The evening shifted slowly into something I didn't expect, not romance exactly, not yet, but connection. Real connection. Not the polished kind you find in perfect dates or carefully curated profiles, but the fragile kind that grows in messy, unplanned moments when the universe decides you're supposed to meet someone. The twins fell asleep halfway through dessert, leaning against each other, tiny snores escaping their tired bodies. He gently draped his jacket over them, eyes softening with love that no heartbreak had managed to steal from him. When I finally stepped outside, snow drifted from the sky in soft, delicate flakes. He carried one sleeping twin, the other holding tightly to his coat sleeve. He thanked me, quietly, sincerely, for not leaving, for understanding, for giving the night a chance. And for the first time in a long while, I walked toward my car with a heart that felt lighter than it had in years. Days passed. Then weeks. We didn't rush. We talked slowly, softly, like two people learning how to breathe again after holding their breath for too long. He apologized again for that first night, and I told him the truth, that if the twins hadn't walked in that moment, I might have given up on dating altogether. Somehow, his imperfection had been exactly what I needed. And somewhere along the way, between shared coffees, weekend park visits with the twins, and quiet conversations that stretched comfortably into the night, I realized I had been wrong about myself. I wasn't meant for perfect love stories. I was meant for real ones. Real stories look like burnt pancakes on Sundays, and matching yellow sweaters, and a dad trying his best with a heart still mending. Real stories look like two little girls walking into a restaurant and accidentally delivering the beginning of something new. And in a world where everyone hides their struggles, their grief, their messy pieces, this story became proof that sometimes the most beautiful beginnings come wrapped in imperfections. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Grandma Dearie. Your support helps more people find these emotional stories. Special request, please comment below what part of this story moved you the most. And as life keeps reminding us, second chances don't always come loudly, they often walk in quietly, sometimes hand in hand, wearing matching backpacks, whispering that someone is sorry they're late.